Annabelle is really annoying me on the season premiere of Traitors Australia too.
Thank you, Saunders. Just wanted to get that on record for all the literally tens of people who know who Annabelle is.
Don't worry, she's probably listening to this right now.
Oh, I'm sure she's got a Google alert set up for herself. Let's be honest, she's the sort of person. Welcome to the 6th episode of VSML 2012 Recaps and Reality TV Warriors. My name is Michael Armstrong, and joining me as always is the Canadian who spent his rewatch of The Traitors thinking Roger's so much cooler, Logan Saunders.
Good afternoon.
And the guy who was told many an idiot online to die, motherfucker, die, David Bindley.
Good morning. Roger is so much cooler.
That was a gift from heaven when Saunders said he was watching Traitors Australia. So, you've been watching Traitors, Saunders?
Somehow, I have finished 12 seasons of Traitors without watching a single season of the American one.
Has it been a quiet week for teaching this week, by any chance?
A little bit in some ways, because they're on holidays right now. It's their Chinese National Day followed by Mid-Autumn Festival. But it's not like I haven't been teaching at all. It's just I haven't been doom scrolling as much. And that frees up a lot of time.
I genuinely forgot that it was Golden Week because when I went to Beijing, which was 7 years ago now, as of this week, we weren't aware that it was Golden Week and it was public holidays all week. That was hilarious fun.
Because everywhere would have been insanely busy in Beijing, I'm sure.
Well, Beijing's insanely busy anyway, but yeah, it was actually quieter than it normally would have been because everyone leaves the city for that week. But yeah, actually 7 years ago today was the day that we left Beijing finally and went to Okinawa the day after.
How is Okinawa?
Okinawa was really fun. We loved Okinawa.
Because I'm planning to go there for possibly end of January or early February.
It was a nice introduction to us for Japan, I think, because it's Japan, but it's maybe a little bit westernized as well because of the American bases there.
Yeah, apparently they have an America town there.
Yeah, oh yeah, I mean, it's full of Americans because they've got a massive military base there. But yeah, it's sort of straddling the east and the west, which then sets us up nicely for Tokyo in like a month and a half at this point. And then Osaka and Hiroshima as well. You had a good week?
Bindles or me?
Either of you. I don't really give a shit.
Just someone answer.
Come up with some content.
That's fun. We don't give a shit about your week either. Yeah, it hasn't been too bad considering Golden Week has been affecting us at work as well because Chinese tour groups have basically booked out everything. Booking everything out and then just not spending money. So I've basically been sort of standing around for 6 hours every day at work.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, I know. It's been great to have like a really quiet week when like work is expecting it to be a really busy week.
Yeah.
I've been judging burgers.
I thought you were meant to be veggie.
Eh.
Is that the official response to your vegetarianism now? It's just
Flexitarian for the time being. I always reevaluate at the end of every October.
So once you've stuffed your face with meat, then you start reevaluating your life choices. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It happens to me all the time.
So a flavoring 6.
Oh, no, you've not asked how my week was yet.
Oh, how was your week, Michael? Did any
about
more
your
Amazon drivers just barge into your house?
Not this week. I did say to Bindles before you graced us with your presence, I didn't have any home invasions this week, which is... I'm considering putting a whiteboard on my front door saying it has been 1 week since a home invasion. Now, the thing that I needed to bring to your attention is I had a very pleasant Friday evening watching a comedy special last week. Specifically, John Marco Cerace's comedy special that he's just put on YouTube called Thief of Joy. Very funny.
Oh, was it in Saudi Arabia?
It was not. I was going to say you're aware of John Marco, but he's kind of made a bit of a name for himself, criticising the Riyadh Comedy Festival over the past few weeks. I was made aware of his work from the crowd control episode of Game Changer, which is fantastic as well. But in it, he does reference some viral videos. In particular, one of a guy getting fucked by a horse. So you have a kindred spirit out there, Saunders. He also was allegedly forced to watch a video of a guy getting fucked by a horse.
See?
So I thought you'd be pleased that there are other perverts out there.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just happy we managed to get this far into the episode without Logan being like, so did you hear about the thing at the dolphin farm or whatever?
We were taking bets on which animal you were going to say you fucked this week.
I'm really hoping for a human.
So, a flavouring 6.
I have to put up with these two off mic as well, people.
Yeah, look, Saunders is worse off mic, that's the problem. The way I always describe it is, think I cut about a third of our recordings out, and most of that is Logan.
Just think, Claire is always watching you from the dog food aisle, which is also the ice cream aisle.
Do you want to discuss Traitors anymore, Saunders? I feel like you've watched enough that you've probably got some fun opinions now, for once.
Let's see. I still have no interest in watching the American version.
Understandable. The first one's alright. The following two, not so much.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking with the casting there of just, hey, let's only cast people everyone has seen 20 times that have been on Survivor or Big Brother. Let's get the coach, one of the coaches from The Biggest Loser, and then 5 or 6 people per season from Real Housewives of whatever the hell cities they have it in now. Like, what is that?
And don't forget randomly John Burkow.
Yeah, disgraced British politician, the only one banned from Parliament who's still alive.
I still don't get why he was there.
Because he was on an American Redemption tour. Like, if he had done that on Celebrity Traitors starting in the UK tomorrow, there would have been a lot of backlash. Maybe not as much as Thomas Skinner on Strictly, but there would have been a fair amount of backlash of John Burko trying to redeem his name, because the dude had like 10 years of relentless bullying of his staff. It was something like 20 different counts of bullying were upheld when the parliamentary authorities investigated. Like, he has been permanently banned from ever getting a parliamentary pass. He's still, I believe, suspended from the party that he joined because he got booted out of his first party. Like, he's a liability.
How did the Strictly thing go?
I saw a lot of articles basically saying, I think the BBC are very relieved about this.
Oh, good.
Because it could have been a Farage-style campaign from I'm Celebrity where he got into third place, I think it was, purely by 20% of people voting for him or whatever it was. But yeah, he got cut very quickly, and it was pretty funny to see the result, to be honest.
Excellent.
To catch you up, Saunders, Strictly decided to cast someone from social media known for saying the word Bosch a lot. He was formerly on our version of The Apprentice, and in the intervening period between him getting cast on Strictly and Strictly actually starting, he had quite a lot of pictures with JD Vance when he was in the UK, shall we say.
Ooh.
So it became a bit of a hot potato for Strictly, which has not had the best few years for its reputation, given the bullying and mental health concerns that have arisen from Strictly, amongst other things, and the cheating and the racism and all that sort of stuff.
So episode 6...
That would have been funnier to say in the Professor Frank voice.
Do you want to do it for me, Saunders? Because, you know...
The cheating and... I'm just kidding.
I can see the notes already. Logan debuts a new impression.
The cheating and the controversial casting. Hoivy!
Oh boy.
And the JD Vance scene. And the flavoring.
Yeah, previously. Previously the final 7 left Iceland reeling from the pot drain and headed to the land of sun, sangria and sea, Spain. On the plane to Spain, Anna Marie felt drained, but the rest of the group needed to use their brains to ensure they landed with some gains, but wrong answers from Hadewych. Frits and Merritt broke the chain. When looking for art hidden in a house in Almeria, Merritt found a question for the sixth test and shared it with Hadewych and Tim, which was good, as she became the fourth person sent home before she could actually use it.
Did you notice how much of your intro just rhymed, Michael?
It was entirely deliberate, Saunders.
Uh,
I thought I'd make Bindles inevitably roll his eyes at me for trying to find as many rhymes as I could for Spain.
Yeah.
It was deliberately rewritten a few times to try and chew on some more, and I'll be honest.
Yeah. It did cause us some pain.
I thought you were going to say House of Pain. I was expecting that.
Nope, can't be predictable. Art tells us that Merritt was the first to depart Spain. Last time, she was potentially saved, but nothing could save her this time. Someone will have the chance to win an exemption this episode, some certainty in some uncertain times. And the episode title is Smokescreen. But before that, did you guys spot that the intro shots have changed?
Yes, I did.
There's some B-roll now from some of the challenges in Spain, and I think Hadewich's profile picture has changed to one of her in the castle last week. I think hers is the only one that's actually changed.
What was the deal with the green screen this week during confessionals?
Thank you for mentioning it already, Saunders, because, yeah, I know I mentioned it a few weeks ago that there was a bit of ropey green screen and all that sort of stuff, but it was so noticeable with pretty much everyone this week.
It didn't look good.
No, they were all inevitably on top of that cliff where they did the execution, I think. Which we'll also get to, because why on earth would production do a departure interview with Frits where you can't even hear him because of the wind? Move it somewhere indoors.
Yeah, just wait half an hour or wherever the closest indoor facility is.
Or just literally find a shed. There'll be some shed nearby. Just some windbreak.
Yeah, go back to that abandoned mine.
Yeah. So the group discuss Merritt's departure, and William thinks that she never told the truth to anyone about who she suspected. Tim reveals that Merritt took the question, and he talks to Hadewych about the advantage, finding out that she knows the specific details. And she asks for a bonja in exchange for the details of the question, and then reveals that the question is what the mole's mother's name is.
And then Tim has a really dumb response to this and says, "Whose mother's name? What show are you on, Tim?"
Maybe he was just like 12, 13 years early and thinking, do I need to know about the winner now? Shit. Is Michael going to be inspired by this for the suspect list? Am I going to have to know the winner's mother's name now? I didn't anticipate this. It's a whole new game.
I like how Hadewych just takes a really long pause, waiting for him to figure it out, but Tim still doesn't figure it out, and she has to say, "Oh, the mole's mother's name?"
Can I also say, Hadewych was a fucking delight this episode.
Yes, she was.
She was a star in pretty much every scene this episode she was in. Starting with her jokingly pretending to run off towards the exemption when Art was doing his speech. Like, grade A, if I can get a good shot of that, that's going to be the banner. But then she was just full of snarky comments through the entire episode.
That would have been funny if that was all the criteria needed for the exemption. Just be the first one to sprint there in that pile of abandoned material.
I mean, it's basically what they did for the bribe in Traitors New Zealand.
That's true.
Pretty much what they did for that exemption Ellie one in Renaissamce as well.
Yeah, it was actually, because it was just, you got on the lucky chair. Or there wasn't a chair for you, so you get an exemption. And they never explained that.
What a stupid season that was.
Yes, it was. And, I mean, we are now less than a month away from Renaissamce. And as a result, less than a month away from finding out who we hate that is going to be brought back.
They're just going to bring back Hero, and I know it. It's going to be the ultimate joke on us.
Honestly, after this episode, I wouldn't be opposed to Frits coming back.
No.
He felt like he was really invested. He felt like he had potentially more to give, and actually he wouldn't have been a bad choice if they picked someone from this season.
I will say, like, I think this season, like, it doesn't really stand out as one of the really solid casts, but there's no weak links here, really.
No. Well, none left.
Yeah.
Weak in terms of suspicion talent, maybe Dio Saunders would have an argument against, but...
But I mean, you could make an argument for Dio coming back, you could make an argument for Martin, Frits, Merritt. Like, maybe not Marianne, but that's about it.
Yeah, because we'd already forgotten her.
She didn't even get a montage.
No? Not even after one episode. I know you love a one-episode montage, Saunders.
Yeah. Just one shot of them smiling, one shot of them clapping, one shot of them giving a thumbs up, one shot of them cheering, and then one shot of them being executed.
Yeah.
She was there so briefly, there wouldn't have even been a montage, it would have been a mon.
So they meet Art at one of Spain's most famous sites, aka an old mining facility. He says it's about time for an exemption, and Hadewych pretends to run off and grab it. And they'll earn it by shooting a bow and arrow. The two who do best will have a chance at one exemption between them. Instead of a target, however, they are shooting at the exemption, which has been laid on a pile of dirt.
I mean, as is traditional.
I guess they couldn't find a target board anywhere in Almeria.
And this wasn't even the filler bit of the season, or the last minute change bit of the season. That's the thing. This stinks of a filler bit of an episode, but I don't think it was. I think this might have been planned.
Yeah, like they could have just grabbed one of those giant bed sheets they used last episode with the big X on it. I don't get why this is just it's over there.
Having said that, the second bit of this challenge, I knew exactly what they were going for.
Yeah,
Like they obviously started with the second bit of this challenge and then worked backwards. It's like how do we isolate two people who could win an exemption who want to pull the raft? I don't know, bow and arrow, shoot at the exemption on a hillside, hope they don't break it because we've only got two and one of them's getting doused in petrol. So yeah, the only thing to note in the actual shooting bit of this is Hadewych being so hilariously bad at it and starting out like Joan of Arc and ending like Goofy.
I think she's the first person ever to compare Joan of Arc and Goofy in the same sentence.
Yeah, usually it's Joan of Arc and Aphrodite.
That is a very good reference.
I don't get the reference.
That surprises me. It's a 90s reference.
What? Was it before or after 1995?
And it's Canadian.
What? No.
She's So High is a power pop song written and performed by Canadian singer-songwriter Tel Bachman. It was released as a single to North American radio in February 13th, 1999.
You just made up somebody's name.
You'd know the song, Saunders.
Yeah. Especially if it's a Canadian song. We have laws here that Canadian content has to play at least 40% of the time or something stupid.
Yeah, you'd know the song mainly because it is currently number one in Canada.
Yeah. Started out as Joan of Arc, then ended up as Goofy. But as long as I'm not a newfie.
The reason I pointed it out is because that deserved far more of a laugh than it actually got, Bindles. So the best two end up being Frits, who almost dead-centered the exemption and made production potentially waste a lot of money, and by a whisker, Liesbeth, and they are sent away to the other side of the quarry.
You know the funniest thing about that?
What's that?
Like I watched the high-quality episode just to sort of see how closely they did. Fritz is still like about a foot off.
Yeah, because it's not a normal target.
No.
Like, because it's at an angle, even when the arrow lands, it's not going to stay in the same place. It's going to slightly slip because it's on loose gravel or whatever it was. So the exemption can be snatched away by the team. It's on a raft surrounded by hay, and Frits and Liesbeth have to pull it across a quarry for one of them to be able to claim it. The others will be trying to shoot arrows at it to stop them, flaming arrows to be precise, which William is very excited about. And if the hay bales catch fire, the exemption is null and void.
I know that they had some real trouble trying to tie the challenges to Iceland, but this is maybe like the weirdest, most niche justification for a challenge they've ever done. Because as far as I can tell, the only link between this and Spain is that archer who lit the cauldron at the Barcelona Olympics. And that is a deep cut, considering this is, 20 years on.
Could it have been that this was meant to take place in Iceland and it was just too cold for them to do it?
Or windy.
Yeah, or windy. Because,
Maybe.
in all seriousness, Iceland is the land of fire.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been the sort of pun that they would have gone for as a, shit, this is a last-minute challenge.
Also, lighting the hay on fire the way it was on the raft looks like a Viking funeral.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think this might have been shifted from Iceland.
Especially just with the lakes in Iceland are really famous, right?
Yeah.
Just the way it was in this almost like a crater. I was thinking that would be the perfect. You'd see so many of those types of places within Iceland.
Given that they made such a big deal during the Iceland portion of this season about how awful the weather was and how freezing it was all the time, I really wouldn't be surprised if this challenge was shifted from the Iceland bit.
Yeah.
Plus, episodes 1 through 3 had exemptions. Episode 4 didn't.
Episode 4 had a non-elimination as well, which is basically the same thing.
Yeah, true. Anything to actually say about this challenge. It was very visually impressive. I knew exactly what effect they wanted to happen, and it did. I feel like the owners of the quarry probably weren't best pleased that the water was covered in hay, petrol, and, melted plastic, but...
I'm sure the fish loved it.
I think maybe the pullers had the wrong strategy. I think they needed to go fast at the start to gain momentum, so they were getting past the archers faster instead of taking it easy till they get there and then pulling like hell.
Yeah, because also the faster you pull early, the less tired you're going to be early on.
Yeah.
And if you get it out of their range, it makes it much harder for them to shoot. Because as Frits noted when he was shooting the bow and arrow the first time, it's not a normal distance. So the further it is, the harder it becomes. So yeah, they probably should have picked up the pace a lot earlier than they did. Having said that, we got the fun visual of everything setting on fire.
You know who I wish did this challenge? Brandon Quinton from Survivor Africa.
I was wondering how long it was going to take you to mention him.
I was going to say that might be the most Logan Saunders statement I've ever heard. You know who I would have loved to see do this challenge? Anyone from Mexico too.
Why? Because they would have to stand up?
Yeah. Can you imagine Rianne trying to shoot a flaming arrow? Or Rianne pulling a raft?
She would be like Kevin from The Office. Just call it. Give them 8 rounds to fire at the starting point. Give me the exemption if they all miss.
Just like Ewan and Rosario trying to pull the raft.
The one thing we did miss out on with this challenge is someone having to pocket a petrol-covered exemption. Because they would have been a genuine danger for the next couple of days. They wouldn't have been allowed to be near any naked flame or anything.
Flammable exemption means non-flammable? What a country!
It's interesting they'd sort of do this challenge in the middle of the day when it's hard to tell what's going on with the fire. And then they do the next challenge in the middle of the night when it's hard to tell what's going on because there's no light.
Well, that's another thing that sort of makes me think it probably came from Iceland, really, because I think they said they were there when it was 20 hours daylight a day as well. Yeah. It just feels like maybe this challenge might have been shifted.
Yeah.
Maybe it was meant to be at the start of episode 5 or something, and then they just decided because of the non-elimination they'd just shunt them straight to Spain or whatever.
Yeah, maybe.
We only got one Robin Hood reference during a bow and arrow challenge.
I think you'll find it was Robina Hood.
Oh yeah, she's on Amazing Race 38. Forgot about it. Yeah, that's right.
We don't talk about that season, and believe me, by the time this episode comes out, no one will remember that season exists.
Also true, given what we know about 39 so far.
Well, I was saying to Bindles before you got here, I really wouldn't be surprised if Amazing Race Production rushed 39 into production so that CBS couldn't question the recommission, given how much 38 is tanking.
Yeah. So Anna Marie hits the target and sort of reaches, about 70% of Xi'an velocity about it.
Yep. Yeah, she's not subtle. And as a result, the raft sets on fire, petrol goes everywhere, and they all die. And the exemption melts into the waves. And Art then reveals that as a special bonus, presumably because production have just decided this on the spot, they get 2,500 euros out of it as well.
Well, that's a plus, I guess.
I must say, I'm never a fan of waiting to reveal what the total value is for a challenge after it's all said and done.
I mean, it's so hilariously unsubtle that they did that, because he didn't mention any cash prize to anyone at the start of this challenge. It was so blatantly, oh shit, yeah, we might need to give them something as well.
Call Avro headquarters and see what we can give them for this challenge.
Add a 0 to it.
Maybe they had a PBS telethon type thing going on at the same time. Well, we raised 2,500 in the past few hours. I guess that's what we'll give them.
This season's kitty is made possible thanks to contributions from viewers like you.
So, after Marit went home, she then willed the pot to Hadewych, and Hadewych does not want the curse of the treasurer, so opens it up to the group as to who should be the new treasurer, and they decide that it should be Frits.
I'm sure it won't end badly for him at all.
This is the point where I noticed that Frits is standing in his confessionals, too. And then I noticed everyone is standing in their confessionals. And as we talked about earlier, that it was definitely filmed outside.
Well, I think it must have been filmed near the test and execution location because it was really windy as well.
Yeah.
Fritz's head does not stop moving in any of his confessionals this episode.
Why didn't they have any chairs?
Well, usually I believe, I'm led to believe at least, certainly now they take over a hotel room at whatever accommodation they're staying in, and that is the confessional room. They have the black backdrop and all that sort of stuff, so it's consistent lighting.
Mm.
But evidently they didn't have that in this season for whatever reason.
Yeah.
You would have thought they would have had some sort of consistent location they could have put them in.
Is this the first season they do the black backdrop, or was that El Salvador?
That is a very good question. It may be the first one, and that's as a result of it.
Yeah, because they definitely were just like doing the background of the hotel room in Jordan.
Yeah, and they were in Japan, I think, because I'm pretty sure Kim had some tea room backdrops and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might be right there. It might be a change coming in with arts seasons, and that explains it. So they were trying things this season in terms of the confessionals to make them a bit more consistent. But it was blatantly obvious that they were outside for certainly Fritz's confessionals, most of Tim's confessionals, and most of the others as well.
Can't remember who it is, but there's like one confessional that's really dark, like basically either they were standing in the shade or they were doing it at night. And then there's one Fritz confessional that's like the brightest part of the day.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Fritz and Tim's were done on that second day, certainly at the beach, if not on the cliff, for the test and execution location. But also, production-wise, why would you pick a windy cliff to do any of this? Your audio is going to be terrible.
I would hate to be an editor in post.
No, and I'm assuming that they cleaned up Fritz's departure speech, but it's noticeably really bad audio for both him and Art.
Yeah.
It reminds me of university and film class where we had to sit through a half an hour video of by a sound guy who essentially says, if you don't have good audio, then you don't have video. And we just had to sit through that, him repeating that sentence about 100 times.
And this explains so much about my experience of you recording with me on the podcast, Saunders.
It was funny in my notes too with having Fritz standing. My actual note was, I think it's because Fritz is standing rather than sitting. Maybe he has hemorrhoids.
He's the anti-Rianne, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Fritz can never sit down.
Yeah, he's just groaning the whole time. I can't talk about this challenge.
So in this Mind special episode of Vies to Mall, they are taken to another one which has been abandoned since 1996. And bless them, they try and sell it in a confessional, but it is still an abandoned mine. It doesn't look beautiful. It's very much urban delinquency, as Michelle Pierce-Donovan calls it. And Art tells them they will be the light in the darkness. It's been dark here for over 20 years, and they'll have to light all the lights to earn money for the pot. However, they will not be alone. There are some unsavory types out there who will try and eliminate them, but they can fight back with laser guns. If they succeed in lighting up all 10 towers, they will earn €2,500 for the pot.
It's been way too long since they did a laser game.
I know you don't really love this laser game, but I quite enjoyed it. It's just full of character moments. That's kind of why I like it, I think.
Yeah, it's a fun one for character moments. I think it's probably one of the better ideas for a laser game they've had. I just don't think it works, and I can't work out why.
Because it's a laser game that doesn't really rely on you eliminating anyone else. And usually laser games end up being filled with advantages of some description and stuff, so it's quite refreshing that actually it is just the team working together as it should be.
I think this feels like a normal challenge that just happens to have the laser game part added to it to add that extra layer, where I think, I'm not sure, just do it within a time limit wouldn't have been much different, really.
Yeah. I think maybe the tweak I would make is take the snipers out and make it more like the grave robbing mission that they do in Traitors, where you've got to avoid being in the lights or whatever.
Yeah.
Or some variant of that. Make it that there are traps on the field rather than it just being snipers, because I don't think any of the eliminations that we actually saw by the snipers were that clear. Certainly not in our subdivision of the episodes, but I don't think they were clear generally. I think it was just, this happened as soon as someone celebrated lighting up a tower, they got eliminated.
I think they just wanted to use guns because guns are cooler.
I mean, we've established that Hadewych thinks it's corny to say over, but Lisbeth is more of a fan of rogering.
I know I said that Hadewych was like the star of this episode, and it begins with that. It's just like, yeah, I'm going to be super lame and just finish with over.
And then at home, Ellie Loost says, "There's nothing wrong with this."
There's no Eta discipline.
There you go, Fuzzy.
So in the control room, they've got a map of what should be where, as each light tower can only be connected to one generator, and they have the cords, which are only long enough to fit in one order. As we said, Hadewych suggests being lame and saying over once you're finished, over, but Liesbeth insists on using Roger, which is so much cooler. And her and Tim are the first to enter the arena, with Liesbeth connecting and Tim shooting. And Frits channels his inner Kathy from Big Brother 12 by saying they should take their time on this one.
Aggregate. Aggregate.
I love that he struggles to say it so much that they just cut in a shot of William saying it for no reason.
It's so much easier for us just saying generator.
Yeah.
I like how Tim couldn't tell the difference between a gun or a cigarette. Hopefully he does not go on vacation to the States anytime soon.
Well, you can buy them both in Walmart.
Yeah. Yeah, if you buy a pack of cigarettes, a gun comes with it.
I just want to know what he thinks the big laser was if it was a cigarette.
Liesbeth then gets clotheslined by a cord, and they realise the cords only fit one way. Tim then switches on the first tower, but not the one the team in the control room had expected, and they're summoned back to the control room, but then Tower 4 is correctly switched on. However, Tim immediately gets shot. I also quite enjoyed, and this might be mean to say, but Anna Marie was dressed as the Incredible Hulk in this challenge.
Every so often you get somebody turning up for a challenge in the show in just like completely the wrong outfit, and it's always hilarious. Like Anna Marie is the Hulk here. There was that one challenge in Oregon where it was sort of about staying hidden or whatever, and Thomas turned up as Waldo.
Yeah. Do you think that was deliberate with Thomas, though?
I don't know.
Was that a knowing wink? Because it feels like the sort of thing that Thomas would do.
Yeah.
He was quite a cocky mole, especially when no one was suspecting him.
Hmm.
Yeah, Flemish people are always like that.
Yeah, he was a sneaky Flemish, what could we say? William obviously enjoys himself, but then he gets shot, leaving just Anna Marie and Hadewych.
I don't want to see William enjoy himself. That's one video I never want to see.
And you have a very dirty color. Especially as he'd already got dirty in the mud as it was, turning himself back into Bert, his role at the time. And in my favourite bit of this entire challenge, Hadewych shoots a sniper, but you just kind of quietly hear what she actually says, which is, "Die, motherfucker, die."
Amazing.
10 out of 10, 0 notes. It 100% was not subbed in the English version that we had, and it's very quiet in the mix, but she does definitely say, "Die, motherfucker, die." Anna Marie then gets shot, leaving just Hadewych with her knotty cords, and she gets shot, and they connected 7 of the 10 towers, but some were connected the wrong way, meaning they earn nothing of €2,500 for the challenge.
I have a silly question.
What's that?
We had the whole thing about, Fritz and basically everyone thinking, oh, he's so good at this because he's been in a war. And I'm like, what war would Fritz have been in?
Boar?
Because realistically, he was in politics when, all the stuff in the Middle East happened. He would have been too young for the Gulf War. That basically just leaves the Balkans, which wasn't a Navy thing.
No, famously, not exactly a lot of water
Yeah.
in that part of the world.
Oh, does that mean IGN would give that war a much higher rating than the other wars since there wasn't much water?
7.8, too much war. I love how we are the only 2 people in the world still referencing that 15 years later or whatever Horus came out. I don't think you'd get much change from 2010 on that. So Hadewych says that Anna Marie stands out in the group as she's the only one who doesn't share information or suspicions. She doesn't buy into it. She doesn't want a bond. She doesn't want an alliance. Hadewych asks her if she's the mole, and she says, maybe. And she also tries to read into Liesbeth's eyes whether she's the mole too.
Oh, it was funny. Speaking of Bond, William during the challenge says, I auditioned for Dutch James Bond. Fast forward over 10 years later, he ends up as Dutch Shrek instead.
Yes, he does. The exact opposite of Dutch James Bond, I think you'll agree.
I love the Art Dick moment of when at the end of the challenge where he's like, he tells them to take a shower before going to bed, and I'm like, it's partly because they need their deposit back on the hotel because it's Afro and they're cheap, and partly because William looks like he's been participating in a Dutch Christmas parade.
I can't remember whether it's him who says it or someone says it to him, but they do say that he looks like he's come off a production of Mary Poppins, which he was in as Bert at the time.
And like the funny thing is, like, he's the only one who gets even remotely dirty. Like, everyone else basically leaves as clean as they are when they arrive.
Well, Liesbeth, it looked like she did war paint with the dirt, so I think she might have kicked it off. But yeah, I was thinking, should I make a Zwarte Piet joke? But I thought that was maybe a bit too far for me. Entirely on brand for you, but a bit too far for me.
It's funny with Art saying, yeah, everyone needs to have a nice shower first, and then I'm going to check everyone for lice, and then everyone change into your jammies, and then go to bed.
And no supper for any of you because you sucked at this.
Yeah. You don't get dessert until you plug in those generators.
The bad news is as well, the hidden 11th tower was actually someone's life support machine. Sorry, guys.
And the Spanish healthcare system will take care of that.
So, Hadewych also shares the question with Liesbeth in exchange for the advice not to go for her on the test as she will be wrong. And Art then tells us that the candidates were in the dark literally, and the mole didn't really need to do anything. The question of the mole's mother's name is going around the group, and only one more challenge remains before they have to answer it on the test.
It's just like the Hadewych's. So yeah, it's like just the funniest way to end a confessional. Like, there's no reason for them to add that extra few seconds. It's just, just her trailing off.
So Art says that they can redeem themselves from last night using the fish behind him. On the beach behind him is the shape of a fish in pebbles, and they have to recreate it in a pile of driftwood. Once they complete it, he tells them it's worth no money, but he does have another challenge for them. They've got 3 minutes to move 3 pieces to turn the fish the other way around, and if they complete it, it's worth €1,000.
Did you understand why they had like the time limit for the first bit? Like, Art was telling them to do it as quickly as they could, but it's for no money, and doesn't seem to affect the time limit for the second and third bits.
No, it made no sense.
Yeah.
He just wanted to go for dinner or something. And this is a very Mole New Zealand-esque challenge.
Is this the sort of challenge that they adapted for Mole Australia 6? I know we're getting towards that bit of the season, but I'm not at all surprised. This had Australia 6 written all over it. Surely there's a really easy way to win this challenge, which is draw the shape in the sand and then just rotate it so you know what it has to look like. Like, you draw it in the sand, and then you go on the other side of it, and you just look at it and go, right, that piece needs to move, that piece needs to move.
Yeah.
Like, they way overcomplicated this by shouting at each other. Obviously, it makes better TV that they did, but they way overcomplicated it.
I suppose it's good that even these dummies can work out to that first part where they just had to set up the fish wasn't the whole challenge. I mean, I bet they only suspected Nadia for 4 weeks in Thailand.
Dio still suspects her, to be fair to him. He's like, I'm sure it's Nadia.
Dio suspected Angela at this point in the season.
I know it's 20 years ago, but god damn it, it was definitely Nadia.
It's funny because, like, every so often there's a shot of Hadewych that does make me think she looks a little bit like Angela.
Yeah, she does, actually. So they complete that challenge with 1 minute to go and win the €1,000, but they can increase it again if they move the fish so it faces the sea using only 2 beams, and having 1 minute they'll earn €2,000. However, if they fail, it's worth absolutely nothing. And once they touch a beam, they have to commit. I'm assuming there was a choice for the team here as to whether they did it, and it just kind of got cut out.
Well, Art said, your time starts now, but if you touch a plank, you've accepted the offer.
Yeah.
Like if you go the entire minute without touching everything, you just don't accept it.
Yeah, there was no discussion of whether they were going to do it or not, like you'd expect.
Yeah, and like I know we criticized Cambodia a little bit for leaning into Crystal May's 3 minute mental games, but this is literally a 3 minute mental game.
Yeah, and also, not to go all 1% glove on them, but they're using a quite well-known puzzle here,
Yeah.
to the point that people in the challenge go, oh, I've seen this one before. Like,
Hmm.
that's straight out of the 1% Club playbook.
Yeah.
And it's just as entertaining as that television program is.
Did any of you pick up on William's quote during this challenge?
Which one?
Thinking logically is my thing.
No. Ah, William, never change.
So Fritz makes a joke about this group being much smarter than last year's cast, and then last year's winner Art comes over.
I love it when they get to snark out like that.
Yeah, we're much smarter than last year's contestants, Art.
And I'm assuming Art's off-air response was, well, yeah, but also the person who went over in episode 5 last year went all in on every single test. Like, that's a low bar, mate. Just because I was on the correct mold doesn't mean anyone else in the season was.
And I like how Tim ends up touching the beam without consulting with anybody else first. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and just possibly screw this challenge up for everybody.
I know what the solution is. I don't need any of these bastards. Give me a crystal art.
And then Anna Marie had to figure it out anyway.
Yeah.
Well, and she had to figure it out while William tried to talk over everybody with the incorrect solution.
Oh, I love William. I think he's brilliant.
Yeah.
For a lot of the wrong reasons, but he is brilliant.
And then Hadewych also doubles down on the William insults by saying, yeah, myself, Tim, and Anna Marie succeeded at this challenge.
Nobody else.
Is this the easiest challenge they've ever done?
It's certainly up there, I would say. It's also one of the more boring challenges they've ever done, because it is literally just, as you said, a 3-minute mental game from Crystal Maze.
And somehow they made it exciting by having them all just argue over each other the whole time.
Oh yeah, that was the only way that this challenge got salvaged, was the fact that everyone was shouting at each other.
Yeah.
Fritz is shouting, not helping. William is shouting, not helping. Everyone else just quietly solves it on their own.
Yeah. So the time runs out with them having completed it, and that means they earn €2,000 for the challenge, 4,500 of 7,000 for the episode, and €8,100 of 56,200 for the season so far.
And even with a 100% pot drain, they're already at the level that final pots are today.
Yeah, I think Cambodia is 8150 from memory. Maybe 8160, something like that.
I don't care enough to check.
Okay. So, it's now time for the test. 20 questions about the identity and actions of the mole. Whoever knows least goes home except for the mole who can never go home. Hadewych says she asked Anna Marie if she was the mole and got a nervous reaction. Liesbeth immediately said no, but that didn't teach her much. Liesbeth wonders why Anna Marie never answers any questions about her. Contestants ask these questions to rule each other out. Fritz says Liesbeth acted weird during the fish challenge, trying to draw a diamond, but instead drawing a triangle. She's still his main suspect. Followed at a distance by Anna Marie. Anna Marie hates the game. She keeps weighing up her options. Everyone does suspicious things, but she's going for 2 people. She's not brave enough to go for 1 yet. She's going for Tim and Liesbeth. William thinks occasionally that Tim is the mole because he does nothing. The only time he did something was taking the yoker instead of the money, but he didn't take Fritz's yoker when it counted. Tim says he's confused. He thought it was Anna Marie, but he also thinks that Marit voted for her. Maybe he's the mole and they forgot to tell him. And Fritz says one thing is for sure, this season, the mole is a woman.
Well, it's not Fritz.
Spoilers. I mean, who would be dumb enough to think that Fritz is the mole going into this execution?
Oh, yeah. That's right.
As I said to Bindles when you did send us your suspect list a few days ago, nice first suspect you got there. Would be a shame if anything were to happen to him.
Yeah.
Art says that they've been playing with fire and been in the mole's territory, the darkness. The question is whether anything shed light for them. Tim, Anna Marie, Hadewych, and William all get green screens, leaving just Liesbeth and Fritz vulnerable, and they could have won the exemption. For one of them, the burning arrow will be fatal. Liesbeth's name is the one typed in, and her screen is green, meaning that Fritz is the 5th person sent home. and he gets emotional, and the curse of the treasurer continues.
Yeah, Hadewych even kisses his forehead.
Well, did you notice what happened when he was on his way out? This is another thing that delighted me when I spotted it, because I think it was covered by the credits.
Somebody who did the robot?
No, he actually ruffles Hadewich's head on the way out. He gives her a noogie. And it really tickled me, because you can just about see it behind the semi-transparent credits.
And I like how when Hadewych gets the green screen, that they're all laughing at her because of how dramatic she is when she finds out she's safe.
Oh yeah, she's a star. So he says it's a pity, it's amazing how close she gets people in 2 weeks. And he says he didn't know the answers to too many questions, which is kind of how you get eliminated from this show.
You can tell it's Art's first season of hosting when he asks, "You've left politics and now you're leaving the mole. Compare the two for me." And Fritz is just sort of dumbfounded by this question because of how bizarre it is. He just says, well, in politics, you can always come back.
And Fritz, how does that translate to the bedroom?
Yeah.
I think he was sort of very politely focusing on what happens when you lose, rather than, the large number of duplicitous assholes in both.
Yeah. Could it be that Art did ask some more pertinent questions, just none of them could be heard because of the wind? I know this is one of my absolute berserk buttons, but it's a complete failure of production when you have any wind noise. The amount of fucking around that I do on our Dire of a Mole finale episodes to try and stop there being any wind noise, and it appears in this episode, and it's not the first time. It just, it annoys me.
You could just picture Art at home watching this episode. He said, "I asked 5 other, way more insightful questions as Fritz was leaving, and this was the only one where it wasn't as windy. Hot for Donna."
Nowadays, in all seriousness, they would ADR Art's questions here. They would keep Fritz's answers in, and they would ADR Art's questions, because both of their microphones were affected by wind noise in this. It just, it boggles my mind slightly that this actually made it to broadcast. So, next time, Tim carries a heavy board, they go hunting for Art, not that one. Anna-Marie climbs a rope, and the final 5 become a fatal 4. Do you want to eulogize Fritz before we get your suspects? Spoilers, Fritz was number 1.
He gone?
He gone indeed.
He was a fun presence on this season. He was the source for a lot of comedy, and just one of the more unusual backgrounds to get onto Vidum.
Yeah, on paper, a former politician should be nowhere near a show like this.
Yeah. I mean, the traditional place for a politician on this level is starting a season of The Amazing Race Asia.
Very true. Go!
Oh, Deputy Minister Patana.
How many years ago was that now, Saunders?
It was right before I left for... Was it?
It was 2016, spoilers.
Yeah, I was about to say, I thought it was either right before my Asia trip or right before I came over to... I think 'cause we recorded the finale podcast or one of the Mason Race Asia podcasts like the day before I flew over to your house.
Yeah, we listened to JK and Mike giving us a shout out when you were at my house.
Yeah. So that'll be end of 2016, and we're still talking about freaking Deputy Minister Patana. And I was just talking to Chloe about a week ago.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, Fritz, I think, is way more pleasant than his archetype would suggest he is.
Yeah.
Is the best way I could put it. On paper, you go, washed up politician, you don't want him anywhere near this show. But actually, he was really nice, integrated into the group really pleasantly, didn't do himself a disservice, and I wouldn't be heartbroken if he came back for Renaissamce.
Maybe the trick to casting politicians is to find left-wing politicians, for once.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we're probably about a month away from I'm a Celebrity. It'll be very interesting to see if they break their no politicians rule again.
Mm.
Having said that, all the left-wing politicians who've got cast on I'm a Celebrity have gone out really early, I think.
Yeah.
Because at one point, the leader of Scottish Labour was on, and she went first, second, I think.
Mm. I mean, it feels like the sort of thing the Lib Dems would do.
Oh, well, I mean, Lembit Opik. He was still a Lib Dem MP, I think. Tim Davey would probably crop up. He'll do anything for camera attention. Anyway, suspicion, Saunders. Who do you suspect? Who's going home? And who is the sneaky Tasmanian?
All right, so my suspect list, which will drastically change next week. This week, it was a bit more
I
strategic.
certainly hope so.
Fritz, William. It made it sound like I said Fritz twice. Fritz, William, Hadewych, Anna Marie, Tim, Liesbeth. Anna Marie will be eliminated next episode, and Tim is the sneaky Tasmanian.
Interesting. Any final thoughts?
We should do a season of Amazing Race Asia sooner rather than later.
Which one though? Like you've done 5.
We could do 5 again. 10-year anniversary.
I mean, it would be a great excuse to try and get Alan Wu on.
Yeah.
I know I'm shameless with these things, but like Alan Wu, Michael McKay, wouldn't be opposed to it.
Yeah.
Let's just go through all the Asia seasons. I'd have more fun with that than the US seasons. Especially now, because when I covered Amazing Race Asia for Tar Storian, I had never even been to Asia yet. And now I've pretty much been to almost every location from all 5 seasons of Amazing Race Asia, or at least a good majority of them.
Do we still do Amazing Race podcasts?
I thought we did.
Given the last time we did one was Amazing Race 3, which was
4 years ago? 3
years ago, I think.
Yeah, we should do one.
Should do Amazing Race 5 historians.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, that too. Asia 5, US 5. No, I'm just kidding.
Should we take this production meeting off?
Australia 5.
I don't know. I think it'd be great for the audience to provide their input on this. Because, the big overlap between Vidum and Amazing Race fans.
In 6 months' time.
In 6 months' time, yeah. After maybe the viewership will be down to 0 by the end of season 38.
Given that this episode comes out, I think it's the end of February, assuming I stick to the same schedule I've scheduled it as. Anyway, let's get this done. Thank you for listening to our VSM World 2012 recap. We'll be back next week to continue the hunt for another mole in Iceland and Spain. Don't forget you can contact us on pretty much every social media platform that isn't TikTok, where we are RTV Warriors, so you can email us at contact@rtvwarriors.com. You can also support us on Patreon at patreon.com/rtvwarriors and get early access to the rest of the episodes of this season. Thank you to that Darts Back for this season of subtitles and Marika, of course. We will see you next week.
Peace out and just chill till the next flavoring.
Step away from the fish, Saunders.